Hey team, this is a late night live. I just thought we would uh, kind of round off the live that we did earlier. It seemed that obviously a lot of the impersonating and doing the voices of Putin and Trump as they landed. Obviously, in none of that content were we making light of what has gone down. Obviously, is going down with the Ukrainians. So behind this, there is a very real uh, global tragedy or regional tragedy. But so we've just come out of the meeting, Trump and Putin. Well, in fact, I've got footage here of Putin coming out of the meeting. Here's Putin coming out of the meeting, quite rushed. They were in together for 3 hours. He kind of headed out that way, um, and and then they came out to do a press conference, and the press conference lasted, I think, in total 12 minutes. Now, basically, the big news is Donald didn't get the deal. I don't think I've ever seen Donald Trump quite so quiet in a press conference. I mean, who loves I mean, no one loves press conferences more than Donald Trump. No one loves questions from the press more than Donald Trump. And apparently NBC reported, they did a breakdown of the time. Vladimir Putin spoke for twice as long as Donald Trump, according to NBC News. The Russian leader who began the press conference spoke for 8 minutes 30 seconds. Someone's done the analytics here. Whereas Donald spoke for just 3 minutes and 24 seconds. Now, we took a very light-hearted approach to what's occurring. We took a very light-hearted approach to the earlier kind of meeting of the two, the red carpet, the applause. You're not going to believe it, guys. But the White House's official post on their Instagram and Twitter of Trump welcoming Putin, they cut out the 3 times that Donald Trump applauded Putin as Putin did a triple back somersault and then a pike somersault along the red carpet. So whilst we're making light of the global politics, we're not making light of the crisis in Ukraine, because I think what's happened coming out of tonight is most Ukrainians have got heads firmly in hands. And this is a fail. I think in Trump's own terms, this is a "you're fired." Trump looked, we haven't got all the footage of it. I've got one clip here, but Trump looked, like Nadia said, he looked like he'd been slapped. I mean, he went into this full coquettish and showing off and firing fucking stealth bombers over the head of Putin to rattle him. By the end of the evening, he looked, there's a great word, chagrined. He looked like someone had kind of slapped him. So what was making me and Nadia laugh in the other room, Reese, could you call this an epic fail? Every single conceivable news reporter on Sky News, every commentator, every pundit has said in various different ways, nothing's really been agreed. No one's told us what they've agreed. They've agreed something, but they haven't agreed anything that's anywhere near a ceasefire. So there's no compromise. There's no pushback. Putin took 8 minutes to remind us that what he wants is what he wants. He said, I hope Europe and Kiev, Ukraine, don't throw a spanner in the works or a wrench in the spokes, I think is the direct translation. He complimented Donald Trump a lot. He said that the war would never have happened if Donald Trump had been president. So he massaged Trump's ego. I felt, looking at Trump, what was going on behind Trump's eyes was, this hasn't gone the way I thought it would. What am I going to distract from the Epstein files next? That's what I thought was running on in his mind, was, what am I going to do to distract from the Epstein files now? So what a waste of time. Trump rambling on about, we didn't even ramble on about himself in this. I mean, let's go back to his fighting talk on Air Force One earlier, shall we?
Oh, there's nothing set in stone. I want certain things. I want to see a ceasefire. This is not to do with Europe. Europe's not telling me what to do. But they're going to be involved in the process, obviously, as will Zelensky. But I want to see a ceasefire rapidly. I don't know if it's going to be today, but I'm not going to be happy if it's not today. Everyone said it can't be today, but I'm just saying I want the killing to stop. I'm in this to stop the killing.
Yeah, he's in this to stop the killing. He's in this to win a Nobel Peace Prize. And I think as he stood at the lectern and Putin, he realized he couldn't just slag Putin off because otherwise he might nuke him. I think he just realized, he just saw that Nobel Peace Prize just floating down is it the Barents Strait between Alaska and Russia? This was Putin's moment at the beginning where he drew attention to the fact that it wasn't really Trump's idea to meet in Alaska, as this post reminds us, but it was probably more Putin's.
Thorough negotiations that were quite useful. I would like to thank once again my American counterpart for the proposal to travel out here to Alaska. It only makes sense that we've met here, because our countries, though separated by the oceans, are close neighbors.
Yeah, we forget that, don't we? When you look at a map, we always look at it with a kind of Eurocentric map because of all the explorers that first mapped the world. That's why maps sort of have Europe at the center. But if you look at the world from the perspective of Alaska and Russia are neighbors, and Russia sold Alaska, I believe, to Russia for a cent an acre or something like that. So the live broadcast, Policia 40, is about the fact that absolutely nothing came out of this enormous summit in Alaska. There was not even talk of a next meeting with Zelensky. Trump has said he's going to phone Zelensky in the next 10 minutes. He's going to phone NATO, and presumably he's going to tell them what he didn't tell us, and Putin also didn't tell us, because no one told us anything. No one told us anything about what was said, about what was agreed, other than Putin reminded and reiterated that what their original kind of reasons for going in there were need to stand. So here's what I think's basically happened. I think Putin has said, I want us to have what we've got, and you've got to give it to us. And there's no negotiation. And then the remainder of Ukraine can't join NATO, has to have a tiny army. And that's about it, really. And I think he's going to have to try now. Trump's going to have to try and take that proposition to Zelensky and Europe, which I don't think Zelensky's going to take. Though, do some people? Does anyone think maybe he'll just have to? But then, if he does, will he take more? You know, I don't want to get into the longer term politics of whether it's right. I don't think it is right that Ukraine is clambering for NATO membership right on the border with Russia. It's provocative. It is a provocation. So to that extent, one has to understand where Russia's perspective is on this. How they've gone about it is unforgivable and illegal. But, you know, I think a negotiated peace prior to this war would have been the best idea. So shame on them, says Emma C, for getting people's hopes up. Yeah, my heart goes out to everyone in Ukraine who may have felt that this would mark the end of hostilities. But there was no give in Putin. He did invite Trump to Moscow, though. He invited Trump to Moscow at the end for the next meeting. Trump looked panic-stricken, didn't he? Trump was like, oh, God, I could get into trouble for that. I think all in all, the part of this that tells you everything you need to know is Trump was so quiet. He didn't take questions or want questions from the press. He looked in the close-up shots of him. He looked ashen. He saw, you know, he phoned up Norway. I think he phoned up the finance minister of Norway in Oslo and said, I want the Nobel Peace Prize, and we'll give you good tariffs if you do. He's trying to buy the fucking Nobel Peace Prize. So anyway, I just thought we'd go live and just kind of touch upon it. Every single journalist of the land is going, what the fuck are they talking about? Nothing's been said. No one said anything about anything apart from whatever Trump is about to tell NATO. And I kind of think whatever he's going to tell NATO is exactly what Putin still wants. So we haven't moved anywhere. The whole thing has been performative, spectacle. If there's a victor, if there's a victory, it's Putin, because Putin's made Trump dance to his tune. Putin's managed to get the invite. Putin looks like he's managed. Well, Putin's come out and at times he looked like he'd taken drugs, and looks like, I mean, like I said to Nads, there were a couple of moments there where he was chatting away on the lectern, and I thought, so much more preferable to Netanyahu. He lacks that superciliousness of Netanyahu. I mean, we're comparing tyrants here, but he really does. I mean, there's no comparison. Netanyahu is monstrous and deluded in a completely different way to Putin. Anyway, there we go. I just thought I'd quickly update you guys before we went to bed. I'm sure there'll be more analysis tomorrow. Then we may even know what the fuck they talked about. We might even find out what they agreed. They agreed something and they made progress, but neither of them told us in what way. And the world's press are now clambering around saying, but we didn't get a chance to ask a question. Having been ushered out of that room earlier, they were then ushered out of this press conference. So no one knows anything. That's why I've come here. To tell you, no one knows anything. No one's any the wiser, other than Putin can skittle downstairs like Gene Kelly and Singing in the Rain. He can do the fast foot shuffle. He's quite something. Anyway, guys, see you in the morning at 10. I think it's probably going to be 10:15 tomorrow, Nadia Mansour, 10:15 for Saturday Moaning, where we will be analysing all of the papers and all of the news outlets' analysis of what the fuck went down in Alaska. Oh, it did anything go?